So I was watching this video about essentially having a morning process and systems. And this is why I've been implementing a morning process for myself, and you should too. And if you look at any successful individual, everyone's got some kind of morning process. They have some kind of plan to execute the day. Takes the guesswork out of what you're doing each day. You don't just start reacting to life and doing whatever. You've got a set plan. You've got a set routine that you follow through with daily. And we're creatures of habit, right? We're creatures of habit. So at first, when you're trying to develop this routine, so many people don't have it because they know at first they face this resistance. But the longer you do it, it just becomes robotic. You don't even have to think about it. It doesn't even require energy anymore. And that's the amazing thing. The same thing goes for if someone just reaches for their phone the first thing they do in the morning and start checking their notifications and scrolling in social media. They start their morning off reacting to life. Whereas the people that are winning, the people that are successful and actually living a life that they've built for themselves, they all have a morning process. They have systems in place that will guarantee they get to their goal. And you should be applying the same thing to your health as well. Not just, these goals in the outside world with making money, whatever. You have to make time for yourself and create goals that will kind of allow you to have long-term good health for yourself. Because you can never downplay, your health and the value of having a strong, healthy body. It's only when you're sick that you just sit there and wish you would almost do anything to feel better again. Those days that you're throwing up or you have the worst fever, worst headache ever, you'd give anything just to feel good again. And right now you have the opportunity to take the preventative measure for your long-term health. And you do that by going to the gym, right? You do that by going to the gym, eating healthy, taking care of yourself. You don't get there by sitting around on the couch, making every excuse in the book for why you don't go to the gym. You're sitting there scrolling on your phone, binge watching TV shows, or you're playing video games, or whatever else your vices are that are essentially holding you back from even taking care of yourself. We've all got excuses. We all got family obligations. We all got jobs. But at some point, you have to take responsibility for your life. There's this Jim Rohn quote. I don't know if he said it or he said his mentor said it, but he said, the day you graduate from childhood to adulthood is the day you take full responsibility for your life. All right, guys, welcome to day 4 of this Olympic training program. It's just going to be me. I'm going solo today. Brayton is actually sick, 103-degree fever. So, sometimes obstacles come in the way in life. So when something like that happens, that you're throwing up, obviously take the time off. Your body needs to do what it needs to do to fully recover. There's no sense in trying to force yourself to go into the gym and putting more stress on your body when it needs to focus on, making a full recovery and making sure you don't prolong that sickness or whatever you're going through. So, don't think that your life has to revolve around the gym constantly. You're going to miss some days here and there from time to time, but the most important thing is being as consistent as possible and showing up a majority of the time. And only miss when you have a valid excuse, like a 103-degree fever, you're throwing up, something important with the family came up. So just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, it's going to be me going solo today. So just feel free to follow along. I'm going to try to drop some mindset stuff at the end after the workout. So I will see you guys at the end of the video. I'm just going to do a voiceover again on all the lifts, kind of explaining everything and what to do so you guys can execute and follow along as well. It's always tough pulling into the parking lot when you can't really see the parking spots, but usually everybody kind of ends up making their own. All right, so the first thing you guys are going to be doing today are the deltoid swims. You'll see that I'm laying on the mat here. I'm going to show you how to do them. You're going to do 3 to 8. Basically, when you bring them to the front and the back, that's 1 rep. So you're going to notice when you go to the front, you're rotating. Your palms are going to go down. But when you come to the back, your palms are up. See how they're switching there? Palms up, palms down. And that's 1 rep. And then I work up to the 5-pound dumbbells. Sometimes I'll go a little heavier. But this can be a very difficult movement. So some of you may only be able to use your arm weight. But even if you were to use any kind of weights, make sure you keep these light. These are a great warm-up for the shoulders and upper back. This is just kind of what my old coach had me do, and just great for priming those rotator cuffs and everything so you're ready for your lift. And the next exercise you guys are performing is the strict press with the jerk grip, 3 sets of 5 light. You're gonna see that I grab it pretty wide around where the ring was, and it's called the jerk grip because in the Olympics they have this movement called the clean and jerk. So they're holding it a little wider, right? So whatever feels comfortable for you though. You're keeping these light, as I said. I'm only doing 135 pounds for my 3 sets of 5, about 60 seconds rest. Keep these light that first week so it's conservative and you have room to grow for the next week. And then the next set of exercises are going to be a superset, meaning you do them back to back. It's going to be dips, but I'm going to be doing them weighted and weighted chin-ups. So that's why I'm warming up with push-ups, because push-ups are essentially a lot lighter than doing your own body weight on dips. So I make sure to warm up with those. Then I warmed up with a couple of body weight neutral grip pull-ups, only because I find these even easier than chin-ups. And then I get into my first warm-up of dips, just using my own body weight, because you should always warm up. And then I get another warm-up set with a 25-pound plate between my legs, because I plan to do my 3 sets of 7 with a 45-pound plate. And then I get a warm-up with my body weight doing chin-ups, because again, always warm up. And then I did my working sets of 5 with a 25-pound plate. You're supposed to keep these light to moderate intensity, as you can see there. And dips should also be around light to moderate intensity probably, because you want to keep those very strict. And then you're going to do dumbbell shrugs, 3 sets of 10. You're going to squeeze up and back. I do these a little different. This is how my coach has me do them. You're basically going to be in an athletic stance, knees slightly bent, hips pushed back, and you're going to be shrugging up and back, almost behind your neck. You're kind of hitting both your traps and upper scapula. You're squeezing your scapula and upper traps together. You feel like you're really hitting that upper back and traps. I feel these way more than normal shrugs when you stand upright. I've seen a lot of dudes with crazy big traps that are well developed that do these the exact same way that I'm doing here. And the last 2 exercises you're going to finish off with are a superset. You're going to do neutral grip cable rows for 3 sets of 12 at moderate intensity, meaning you're not going all out, but you should be pushing yourself. Then you're going to do a 3-way plank after, and I'll explain that after. Make sure on these, you're pulling with your elbows and squeezing with that scapula in the back. You want to almost squeeze those shoulder blades together. You don't have to hold it, but you want to make sure you get a quick squeeze and let those shoulder blades stretch out and, perform them exactly as I'm doing here. And then you're going to get into your side planks as soon as you're done with your set. You're going to do 30 seconds each way. So you're going to do 30 seconds on one side, then as you see me doing here, 30 seconds on the other, and then you're going to finish off with front planks for 30 seconds. These are great for stabilizing your core. It's going to protect you when you're squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing, or just picking something up during your day-to-day life. So it's always great to work on that core stability. All right, guys, today was a solid workout. I just want to remind you to take things slow this first week of, this Olympic training program here. You want to have room to grow and, increase the weight the following 2 weeks, because there are 3 weeks of this program, and each week you're supposed to go a little heavier. You're going to see some things change within the programming just a little bit, but essentially each week, this is progressive overload. This is what every workout program should be striving for. Progressive overload, meaning you're going incrementally heavier each week. You're pushing yourself a little bit more each week, so your muscles are forced to grow and adapt to whatever stimulus you are providing them. So we're just building the base for now, guys, brick by brick, day by day. I will see you guys next week. You guys have to stay consistent for your future self, because right now your present self half the time is not going to want to do it, because your present self doesn't get the reward. It's your future self that ends up getting that reward for all the hard work that your present and past self have done. Your current situation is just a collective of all of the decisions you've basically made the past, couple of years of your life or your entire life. So if you don't have the results that you want, you've been doing the same exact thing year after year, don't expect anything to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So you got to do something different today for an alternative tomorrow than what you're currently living.